Hello, everyone. This is Dennis Horrigan once again, co-founder, partner at Connecticut Wealth Management with Kevin Leahy, co-founder, president, and CEO of Connecticut Wealth Management. And we have a couple of awesome guests here today that I know people are going to find very interesting. No pressure. Jarrett Solomon, who's a partner at Connecticut Wealth Management, and Megan Trask, who is the head of our investment committee. And they're going to talk about what the investment committee does here for our clients and what they're faced with right now and how they're operating in this crazy environment. So welcome to a couple colleagues. It's very cool to have you guys here.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
For having us. Excited to be here.
Wonderful to be here.
So obviously things are a little bit different as we were all sitting in our respective homes, our respective offices. How are you guys, like, generally, how are you guys as the investment committee, how are you managing the process that you normally do face-to-face in a conference room? How has it been working trying to do this remotely in many different locations?
I feel like I should be knocking on wood right now because truly the transition from working in the office, managing the investment committee meetings, managing client portfolios, communicating with our clients, that transition has been pretty seamless. I think Kevin has spoke to it on some of these past video blogs, but we've had the technology in place already. So in fact, our investment committee is meeting more frequently, and we're pulling in analysts and we're pulling in our other research partners, and we're holding those meetings over Zoom, and it's pretty seamless. Probably more importantly, we're reaching out to clients and confirming strategy and assumptions and talking about what's going on in portfolios, also using Zoom for that. That's been pretty seamless. Our advisory team is meeting almost bi-weekly at this point. And I think there's a recurring theme that we're all just so grateful to have the team during this time. So while the investment committee is working behind the scenes on these decisions, there's another advisor calling clients and informing them as to what's going on. And there's yet another advisor placing trades and implementing all these decisions. So, above all else, man, I think we're just really grateful to have the whole team and keep working on.
I would agree with that, and just point out that from the beginning, we've always told our clients that, our job from an investment standpoint is to be thinking about them even when they're not thinking about us, right? So that they can focus on the other aspects of their lives. And that certainly extends even to these crazy circumstances that we're in. So, said another way, it's our job to be proactive. We don't wait for a client meeting to review a portfolio to see if trades need to be placed or to see if a portfolio represents our best and most current thinking. That's our job every single day, is to make sure that that's the case, whether we're in our respective homes or whether we're in the office. So to Megan's point, we've been hugely fortunate to have this great technology. I will also say that because we're not in the office, it has forced us to communicate over and over and over again, because we don't just bump into one another. So I'll echo the sentiments that it's been, at least to date, relatively smooth and seamless.
So guys, let's kind of jump in, I guess, to the more specific investment matters. Maybe even talk about. So we've entered a bear market. Maybe start. What's unique about this particular instance?
I think it's challenging to separate the uniqueness and severity of what's going on in the world. It's difficult to separate that from what's going on in the market, right? In some respects, this bear market is not all that atypical from past bear markets. We're expecting that March will be the end to the longest bull market that we've seen. Markets move in cycles, right? So the idea that we're having a bear market right now, that's not atypical. The severity of the downturn itself has not been all that atypical. So as of March 23rd, the lows of the market, we were down 3%. That's pretty on average with the type of declines you see in the bear market. perhaps some of the more characteristics of this has been the speed. So it came on really quickly. It happened in a matter of weeks. And so far, the recovery has happened really quickly. I think we're certainly not prepared to say we're out of the woods on that front. And if history is any indication, we may even see those kind of lows retested. But again, that would be a normal part of the bear market. So again, while the world and what's happening in our everyday lives is unique and unprecedented, again, the bear market itself, not all that atypical.
Yeah, because you guys have both, just to jump in there for a second, you guys have both been through prior bear markets, ugly bear markets with different firms, with other firms that maybe operated a little bit differently too. So you have the value of the experience of having been through these sorts of ugly things before. Jarrett, sorry, I interrupted you there for a second.
No, I was just going to say, Megan started to point this out before, but every single human being's life is affected as a result of this bear market and what drove it in the first place. Perhaps what might be a little bit more unique than in other situations is that the market and economy were pretty healthy before this, right? This is an external force that drove us into bear market territory, that drove us into what will likely be a recession, which hopefully lends some credibility to the fact that when we are on the other side of this, the market will recover more quickly in addition in the economy as well. So, yeah, in 2008, it was mortgages and a financial crisis that obviously impacted everyone, but not to the extent that people's lives are affected on a daily basis, were affected on a daily basis like they are now.
So can you guys talk to for a minute also, and I think, Megan, you started on this a little bit, but the lessons that we can take from, the previous bear market and recession and the one before that and before that. And I know we talk about it a lot internally. We talk about it individually with clients. Can you guys talk to that for a minute?
Yeah, I think, again, if history is any indication of what's to come, one of the most important things to keep in mind here is to stay the course. Markets do move in cycles. So, I think that's the most important lesson in that understanding of what drives stock market prices over time in general, right? It's companies earning money. So time again, we see that while again, the situation's a little bit different, companies' ability to earn money is what drives stock market prices. So while companies' ability to earn money is impacted right now, do we still think Coca-Cola is going to continue to sell Coke over the next 6 months? That's, example you hear us say in meetings quite often. We do, right? And that's a lesson and a concept I think it's so important to keep top of mind. What actually drives stock market prices?
Yeah, as it relates to 2007, 2008, it's kind of hard to remember back that far, but what ultimately drove the market back towards the positive wasn't great news. It was less bad news, right? The metric back then was mortgage foreclosures and how many they were, and they were growing at this ridiculously rapid rate. And then they started to grow at a slower rate, right? They were still growing. They weren't even shrinking, but the pace was slowing a little bit. And that's ultimately what turned the market around. We expect the same thing here as it perhaps relates to the number of cases worldwide. So that echoes Megan's point about staying invested. There were plenty of clients who went to the sidelines in 2007, 2008, and theoretically are still waiting for that right time to get back in, 200-300% returns later. So we stay the course, to use, Megan, your expression. That doesn't mean that we just sit there and close our eyes and are blind to some of the tactical opportunities that we think are available. But certainly taking dramatic tactical shifts, going all cash, all stock, whatever it might be, has time and time again, 2008, and certainly this market included, proven to be a losing endeavor.
Hey, Megan, I think it was you who mentioned before that one of the great things about having an investment committee is just having, a team of people around you that are there to offer insight and offer opinion. What you guys aren't just sitting in a room, well, sitting in a Zoom room right now. You're not just sitting in a Zoom room making your decisions on your own. You folks are pulling information from a whole host of different resources. Have those resources changed and have some become more valuable now than they were in the past? Where are you getting your information?
So our primary partner in research as it relates to what's going on in the market and the economy is our friends at LPL Financial. So they've got a research team of 60 to 70 individuals, highly compensated individuals who are just living, watching, breathing markets all day long, while, as everybody here knows, lots of the time we're on the phone with clients and there's other things going on. So they're our primary partners. And, I think what's most valuable about that relationship is their research free from conflict of interest, right? So we're never going to see the LPL Financial S&P 500 fund. They don't sell proprietary products. So we have a fair amount of confidence that research that they're doing, the market conditions they're watching, the advice they're providing us is because it's their best ideas. It's because they're on this stuff all day long. So we have been meeting with them, again, as I mentioned, even more frequently than we typically do. It's close to a weekly basis at this point. And they've really upped their research publications that they're sending out multiple times a day in response to what's going on. So again, they've consistently been our partner. They've continued to be our partner through this. And again, we're meeting with them even more frequently than we typically do.
Yeah, I mean, we pull from LPL in a variety of other sources as well. And what we try to remind folks is that, we take their best ideas and we apply it to our clients, right? They don't know our clients, we do. And we understand that we're managing real people's real money. And we take that responsibility very, very seriously. So it's nice to go through theoretical exercises. It's nice to see charts. It's nice to have debates. But at the end of the day, these are our clients' real money, and we know it. And it's our responsibility, as I said, to apply that layer of analysis to kind of the best thinking that we get from a research and markets and valuations and GDP perspective.
Have there been any particular challenges in this situation? Again, I think Dennis alluded to this previously. Not able to sit all together at one table in the same room on the same phone call with the same people.
I haven't seen it personally, other than the challenges with which we're dealing in a very difficult market, and some of the I'll call them frustrations associated with that. But that would have been the case if we were all sitting in our conference room as well. We really have been able to operate smoothly. It goes back to what Megan was saying about that team approach. It's so critical. It's not just one person on his own or on her own making a call based on a hunch or an assumption. It's a whole team putting together our best thinking at all times.
One of the things I know, Jarrett, I think this is your idea, so I'm sure you will gladly take credit for it. But I think it's crazy that in January, I think it was January, we started having conversations with everybody in the office because it had been this crazy bull market for so long. And we started to talk to everybody about, hey, this is going to end, and be prepared for the emotional side of it. It's exhausting, right? It's exhausting continuing to do the research, finding new research, testing your research, and then applying it to client situations in kids' college or a wedding or that sort of stuff. Is the investment committee, how's everybody feeling? Are you folks wringing your hands? Is everybody, I don't know. We're happy that you showered and shaved today, Jarrett. That's a victory.
It was, yeah. I think so too.
How's everybody doing?
Perhaps I'll jump in first. Let Jarrett recover from that one.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis.
You know, it's interesting working in this industry. You have family and friends asking you, what are you guys doing? What are the trades you're making? And, you know, to the point you just made, Dennis, it's not the most exciting answer, but I think the first thing that the committee and all the advisory team in general, what we did to approach the situation is really to reach out to clients and remind them that they were already invested, knowing that we were likely going to encounter in a market environment like this. We certainly, again, didn't predict that it was going to be a global pandemic that caused it, but the first job was really to call clients, remind them why they were invested the way that they were, remind them the most important kind of layer that goes into building the portfolio, which is finding that right mix of stocks and bonds, making sure that there are enough safe assets in the portfolio, i.e. bonds, to provide for each client's particular needs, their living expenses. That key critical factor that goes into portfolio construction, that's what allows folks to stay flexible and to really weather this environment. It's not super exciting to talk about the fact you're already invested the way you should be, and a lot of times you want to do something. But oftentimes it's really, again, just having that comfort that there was a strategy already in place and reminding people what that strategy was. That was really the first kind of undertaking that the advisory team and investment committee went through during this time.
Yeah. So let me kind of maybe close with Megan and Jarrett. What are the mistakes that you're hearing that either clients want to perhaps make or suggesting that they partake in, or that maybe perhaps we see some of our competitors making? What are the mistakes that someone might make in this environment?
We used the term emotionless discipline in our last investment committee blog. It's so critical at this stage. And it's really what our clients rely on us for, is that emotionless discipline, to be discerning in the face of stress or anxiety or whatever it is. So we have seen, not necessarily from our clients, but from a broader perspective, people react emotionally, right? That can manifest itself in any number of ways. It could be selling and selling at an inopportune time. It can be all of a sudden wanting to make up what was lost and getting super aggressive or super tactical or super concentrated, whatever it might be. Each of those is a very different path. Both of them are driven by emotion. Both of them, we would argue, aren't necessarily the best path forward, even in a very volatile, especially in a very volatile market like this, where there are huge swings on a day-to-day basis.
Awesome.
So I guess we'll wrap it there. So let me just say thank you. Well, thanks on behalf of our clients, but thanks personally. You guys, I just know how much work the investment committee has been putting in over the past month or so, and I know that wears on you guys. So I appreciate how hard you guys are working and how smart you are and the decisions that you guys have made, which have been working out really, 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 really well. So thank you guys for doing what you do. I appreciate it, and I know everybody else does.
I think of the treading water analogy, where the head is floating above water and the four limbs are scurrying, pedaling around really, really quickly. And so again, pretty awesome, especially being 8.5 months pregnant, Megan.
Oh, I'm not pregnant. No. You heard some misinformation there.
I keep saying my app tells me we're in the 1 week countdown at this point. So,
oh my gosh.
But thank you for that shout out, and we don't take the responsibility lightly, and we're fortunate to all love what we do, and this is when clients need us the most. So
this is what we sign up for. So thank you, Dennis, for those comments. And yes, it has been busy, but we do absolutely count ourselves among the fortunate given the circumstances, for sure.
Cool. Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, guys. See you soon. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Bye.